Good morning, y'all. This is gonna be an emotional video with some sensitive topics. Sorry that I don't give that warning ahead of time, but I suppose most people know by now that it's like if you aren't getting a vulgar, funny video, you're gonna get a serious one with serious topics. This one, I suppose it's a serious topic. How are people supposed to cope when they're alone? I have this older gentleman, he's talking to me, and I guess I am glad he reached out. Despite him not being the best conversationalist, it's still him trying and making an effort, which I appreciate because not enough people do. I appreciate whoever I do have around me. For example, I have a buddy named Sean. He's fucking. I've talked about him before. He's an ignoramus in a lot of ways. He's not always the brightest. He can be very bullheaded and can't really see past his own 2 feet. He's the type of guy where he'll see a comedy showcase going on and he'll keep just like to say hear like the comedian make a joke about his balls and then start screaming Tupac at the top of his lungs because Tupac vaguely had a lyric about his balls, and it won't just be one verse, it'll be like 3 verses at the top of his lungs standing up in a dead silent audience. He's that type. He's the type of guy where he will be like, oh, you know what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go out of my way to be as like offensive as possible. Like, I don't know, the type of guy that goes to a queer open mic and then gets on stage and says a transphobic joke and then says the audience is the ones who are tripping because they didn't laugh at a joke that wasn't funny. But at the same time, it's not so easy to dip on him as a friend. For example, once he left me an hour in the rain, but it's okay because time went on. He didn't inherently apologize, but he did give me like $200 because he heard my financial situation was sucking, and that was sweet of them. And he's the type of guy where he has a fucked up home situation and just doesn't want to be at his house because he's dealing with a lot, trying to figure out how to leave his girlfriend of 8 years, who's a hoarder and kind of like, I don't know. He's low key hinting that she's like bad for him. I don't know if it's abusive, but I'll just say it's a hoarder house. And he hasn't had a peace of mind in ages and can't even sleep in his own bed or shower in his own home. And I know how that's like. I know how my childhood was like because of that shit, or more specifically, my teenage years. So whenever I find a chance to go out, I invite him. And he's sweet. He'll pay for drinks. He'll pay for transportation so that I don't have to take BART or get harassed. He'll warn me about creeps or predators because he knows I can't stand them. And he is a really nice guy. And I appreciate that he's around. I'm grateful for it. And then aside from that, who else? There was some. Oh yeah, this other guy I'm talking to. We also met in the comedy scene. He is an older gentleman. He hasn't done much to piss me off aside from hit on me, and for that I'll just say extreme naivety. But he seems nice enough and sweet enough. He actually cares. He's like, "What kind of high school did you go to? How's this? How's that? Oh, this place has $5 movies on this day. Oh, you used to do this? So did I used to have that same type of job." And he's been nice to casually talk to. And I guess it is good we started talking because a mutual friend told me, like, oh yeah, he's a very lonely guy. He actually kind of posted something recently that said he was like depressed. It was low key a cry for help. And I was like, oh, did you reach out to him? And the mutual friend was like, no, I didn't. Why would I do that? And that's kind of sad. It's like people who call themselves your friends but don't care when you're going through it. Can't stand people like that. It's why I'm cutting off a lot of people myself. I'm just not interested. Because to me, that's the markings of friendship. That's why I appreciate y'all on here, because even if I've gotten snappy with some of y'all, and I apologize for doing that, I have a bit of a temperament that I'm working on, and I'm a very, I don't know, sometimes I see things as needing to be in a certain box, but then other times people will say something out the box or out the confines of what I consider acceptable by like maybe 3%, and my brain will tell me, oh, this is extremely offensive, how fucking dare they? I apologize for that in advance. I apologize. But it doesn't mean I don't care about y'all or like y'all. Not at all. It means I very much care and cherish you as well. But, I don't know. I still appreciate the comments I get on here because it's people where at my lowest, where it's like, okay, I can't post about this on this social media platform because my aunts see me there. I can't post on this one because even the other friends don't really care. That rhymes. And it's like, oh, and then it's like, where do I go? YouTube. It's kind of like my own little desolate pit where I get to just go and talk about my emotions. And the fun thing is, I can give a rant that is like an hour and 45 minutes long, and I will still have someone who's sweet enough to listen to the whole thing and let me know that it's okay. And they'll hear me out and let me know it's going to be all right and I don't have to take my life and that everything is going to be swell. And I really do value that. Don't think that I don't. I'm trying not to tear up as I record this video. The consequences of loneliness are fatal on the mind. I know that. That's why I usually try to be nice to people and why I've given certain people chances. Not inherently even when I needed them. Trust me, even when because I'll put it this way, even when I had friends and a good social life, if someone I knew was struggling and alone still needed somebody, I would still lend a branch. I would still extend the olive branch and be like, hey, you can talk to me. Like my buddy Seamus, I had to end my friendship with him recently. Again, wow, is that the fourth time in one single year? Jesus. Well, I don't know if I'd say a single year, but definitely in less than a full 365 days I've ended my friendship with him. That's worth noting. The first time was him being an egotistical fuck with misogyny issues and entitlement issues, being mad he couldn't fuck me, but also being mad at the world and blaming everyone else but himself for how he wasn't getting as far ahead in life as he wanted to, while not putting any effort or strides into making motions for that. And then there's like the other two fights. I think the other two fights were like smaller but still kind of in the same vein. And one of them, like, he kind of defended like a bad guy. Really, really bad guy who he knew better than to defend. Oh, yeah, and I think the second time we ended things was over an ex. Because it's like, yeah, you're supposed to be on my side and proving that you're safe for me and other women. And you're doing this. But, if like even when I did officially end the friendship or didn't, if he came up to me and he was like, I'm sorry we haven't talked in a while, but I really need someone to talk to, please, then I would be there for him. I forget when it was, I forget the context exactly, but if I recall correctly, at some point I remember he was crying over this lady. This, I'm gonna say it, very terrible woman, and I wouldn't even say she's hot enough for the trouble. It's actually disgusting. I understand, though, people, like, how do I put this? She is a woman where when I first met her, I thought she was beautiful, and she's still attractive, don't get me wrong. She's a lovely young lady. High cheekbones, rosy apple cheeks, cute little smile, nice, relatively full, but not too full, lips. Nice full eyebrows, pretty blonde hair with the highlights, long slender neck. I see why someone would like her, and her teeth are nice and white and pretty. But over time, she has let herself go, I'm gonna be honest. But then also, she has become a conniving, awful bitch and cheating on him and terrible. And maybe this is probably just karma for Seamus, if one believes in karma, because no offense, he has a lifetime of being shitty to women. But, he cried in front of me and he even punched a metal door because he was just so distraught because he's fatally in love with this woman. And she's fucking with him just for some sort of egotistical bliss and it's making him sick. I understand that. But it's like, yeah. So I've been there for him because I know nothing is worse than when you're alone with extremely tough emotions and you don't know how to process them. Hell, I want you to watch this clip. No, I'm gonna fucking show it to you. This is a part of a very long video that I recorded with Mitchell. God, it makes me sick and I want to cry just fucking looking at it. Hate this man. I know the consequences that can come from being alone when you're thinking about someone who's bad for you or who was good for you. And it's the complexity of like, this is the best person I've ever met, but they're not good for me and they can't be around. And you know that, but you want them around. And it's like that. Man. Fuck, let me stop talking about Seamus. Let me talk about me, because it also fits into how I'm feeling. It's why I made this video. Loneliness is not healthy for the mind. At all. Some of my worst instances have came from being alone. Some of my worst crash outs or crimes I may or may not have committed and things I have done that are immoral or vigilante or buck wild usually came because I was alone. If I had friends who consistently I could talk to about things, best believe I would have probably been spared from a lot of things. If I had a family that was safe for me to be around or I could at least talk to. But no, I didn't. It's a fact too I'm interested in researching about serial killers. They have very fascinating lives. Like, what happens if someone with preconditions for certain mental illnesses or disabilities or this, and that, what if they're just left alone and made to fend for themselves and no one's around to be like a good moral ground or like serve a high code or do this or do that, you know? How's that supposed to make them into a healthy individual? It's not good for people to be lonely. It fucks with them. They do bad things that are bad for their health, bad for others. It's fucked up. Funny enough, with me and Mitchell, he actually commended me highly. It was something he praised me for the absolute most. When he wasn't praising me for my beauty and my intelligence and my empathy and my good nature and, you know, everything I wanted to hear, God bless, he especially praised me for estranging my family. Because he said most people don't leave their families because they have it ingrained in their subconscious across multiple generations and bloodlines that if you separate yourself from your family, you will fucking die. And you will be alone. And you will suffer endlessly, helplessly, with no one to catch you but yourself. I remember he even cried as he talked to me about it. He's a very interesting man. It would have been nice if we could have been friends, but what can I say? Whatever. But I will say this. I see why he would be afraid to be alone. But he's clearly not that afraid, because look. He probably hasn't made a single move to cut off his family, or at least open any discussions with them. He's probably just way too comfortable sitting in the position he's in and not trying to get any better. And hell, he didn't even want to really keep me around, despite so-called, like, you see it in the fucking video even. The fucking facade. And the promises that this wasn't going to be our last time meeting and we were still going to see each other and still be in contact and still be in touch, and that I meant something to him and he cared about me and wanted me to have the best life ever and all that. Do you know how it fucks someone up to see them act like this with you? And you just kind of have to know, like, oh, they acted like they cared. And if they did, they don't care enough to actually, like, want something long lasting. All this bullshit theatrics, and I'm not seen as a lover, not even seen as a friend. It fucks up your brain. Fucking hate him. I'm gonna vomit if I keep watching this shit. I hate him. Yeah, I'm feeling fucked up. Oh, I hate him. You know what makes it worse is that the moment I paused it, he has this smile on his face, directly looking at the camera, and it just feels like some fucked up, smug fourth wall break of him just smirking at the camera, as if it's some sort of like, haha, look at you falling for it, stupid bitch. Like it's mocking me, and I hate it. It's so funny, it makes me almost want to laugh. Loneliness is an isolating thing. I see why most people wouldn't do it. But at the same time, every time I feel alone, I have to remind myself, you're being spared from people who aren't meant for you. Because trust me, I do the effort. I put myself out there. I socialize. Trust me. And if people don't want to reach out, but they want to watch, then let them be a shitty little fan. And if people do reach out, those are the people who are courageous, smart, funny, ambitious, talented, fun, sociable. And at the very least, even if they somehow weren't all of that, at least they're fucking trying. God bless. I love people who try. I don't know. I never understood the mindset of people who enter discords or whatever and are too afraid to talk or speak or whatever. I never understood the mindsets of people who, like, get phone numbers from me at social events and then never actually make an effort to, like, plan a date or, like, text or do a hangout. I've never understood the mindset of people who will see me online crying my eyes out on my Instagram story and then just, like, see me so traumatized or going through it and then ignore that, go to the next slide, be like, oh my god, this is a cute video of a puppy. I'm gonna reply to her and say this is so cute and I'm happy she posted this. Bitch, reach out. It's like, bitch, you see me suffering and you're like, If it's not a meme or a cute video or a cute outfit or a picture of some titties, I'm not responding. You get to be spared from fucking idiots like that. And that's a blessing. But still, it's like a painful blessing. But it is a blessing. Like, for example, I'll say, I remember when I did estrange my family and I was just in that shitty ass hotel room where everything was sticky and I heard the ruckusness of people screaming and shouting and fighting and partying next door. And I was just laying there with my bags of stuff, not knowing where I was going to go, how I was going to pay for my hotel room, if I should have just killed myself and slit my wrists in that hotel room, or what. But simply put, I decided, you know what? I'm actually the happiest I could ever be. Because nothing matters. I no longer have to associate with anyone ever. And at first it was depressing. But then it was warming. Because I kind of thought to myself, wait a minute. I don't have to worry about my mother. Ever. I could start saying she's a stupid fucking cunt on the internet now without consequences. I don't have to worry about my stepfather. I could tell about how he tried to cheat on my mother now, openly. I don't have to worry about that whore that, I've had to refer to as a sibling for years, because now I can just say she's an evil, wicked witch of the West. I don't have to give a fuck about that older guy who just so happened to be called a sibling, who secretly was the reason I was trying to kill myself actively between ages 12 to... When did it stop? I'd say like fucking 19 he started being a decent person. That's a long time to be a piece of shit to somebody. The only person I care about in that family is the younger brother. He's a sweetheart. I hope he's not too corrupted by that family, but you never know. Poor kid. And anything else? Yeah, he's a good kid. Sorry, I don't know. I get emotional mentioning him, so you don't hear me talk about it much, but he is a good kid. I will say this though. Like, I was sure he was going to be okay. For the most part. I was pretty sure of it. At least I hope he was, and I hope he has been for the past several years. But I also thought to myself, I no longer have to live under the thumb of, like, my grandmother on my dad's side. I don't have to care about her Muslim beliefs or her transphobic beliefs or any of the bullshit she spews. I don't have to talk to her about dumb shit like Emily's Away in Paris or whatever the fuck that show's called, in Norforms, or goddamn how Megan the Stallion's gonna make people burn in hell. I don't care. It's like, I don't have to be around my stinky aunt on my dad's side. No offense to her. Well, okay, I've never liked her personally, even though I saw her recently and she was nice. God bless. She was nice that time, but any other time I could not stand that bitch. Sorry. I could, yeah, she was a bitch. What can I say? She didn't reach out either when I was going through it, so fuck her. But, whatever. I don't have to worry about anything ever. I just thought to myself, it was scary but freeing. Kind of like how you feel, like, imagine you're at the top of a swimming pool. Imagine like a huge swimming pool and the jump is huge and your body is telling yourself like, I'm afraid, I'm afraid, I'm afraid. But then you jump and the terror sets in, but then the adrenaline and the dopamine, serotonin, all of that just comes flooding into your body, and then you splash into the pool and you feel fucking amazing. And then the only thing you have to worry about is making sure you can, like, get yourself back up to, like, surface level and get a breath of fresh air. And once you do, you're gonna realize you've been fucking fine, and then you can take on a million more jumps like that fine, and it gets less scary each time. I'm just saying, loneliness is fun because you kind of do get a freedom. People online, they get on here and they're like, I hope you don't feel bad about posting this if it's like a video about me talking about anything ever. And I'll have to be like, hey, just so you know, one of my first videos I ever posted on here went viral, and it's just a video about the time a dude got his braces stuck in my pussy hairs. And it's been several years, and my life has been changed for the better because of it, not for the worse. And then the good thing is that when you face new challenges, you get to really, I don't know, you get to figure out who you are aside from, like, your so-called identity attached to your parents or attached to your family. And that was amazing because then it was like was able to do anything. And these past few years has been me trying to navigate, like, through the loneliness, through the challenges and all that, while also dealing with a whole lot of shit, and then being like, you know what, I'm gonna figure out what I like. I like things like Belly dancing. I definitely like women. I'm afraid of eating pussy, but I love women. Absolutely. I like fucked up dark humor. I like comedy. I like wearing my natural hair. Is it safe for me to wear my natural hair? Wait, who's gonna beat my ass? Oh, I love cooking. I haven't cooked in years because it turns out my family left a fucked up impression of food and cooking on me. Oh, I also love the color pink. Turns out I love the color pink. Yeah, it's actually my favorite color. Wow, that was one of the most shocking things. It's like I did not expect it to be my favorite color, but hey, works for me. Hell, I know a certain bitch where if I still lived around her, she would have been like, she's just copying me. Her favorite color is pink because she's copying me. She's always wanted to be me. No one wants to be you. Being you, I would if I woke up in your body, I would kill myself. I'm just saying. I'd much rather be me than be you. Just saying. Gross. And you get to learn what you stand for and what you don't, and it is a beautiful thing. And I guess as much as Mitchell's stupid fuck that hurt, ow, I hit myself in the jaw with my laptop. As much as Mitchell's stupid fucking ugly smug bitch ass pale ass self said, something that he did say that stuck with me amongst all the positive things he said to me, that sadly is a factor to me still having positive feelings about him, ouch, is that he is very proud of me for leaving my family and for taking the plunge, and that I'm stronger than he is because, how do I put this? He has it all in his favor where it doesn't take much for him. And he recognizes that. Like, he doesn't know much about big words like white supremacy and patriarchy and shit, but he still knows, like, hey, I'm a grown man with a high paying job, and I'm 30 years old. I live by myself. There's nothing they do for me, and there's nothing I need from them, ever. And like, yeah, he kind of realized that. Like, I guess he was still trying to indirectly say it's like, hey, look, you're black, you're disabled, you got mental conditions, you are not exactly the richest girl around. Like, absolutely. Like, you're struggling with a lot, and it makes sense that you, like, yeah. And despite all of those odds, I beat them, and I have a pretty damn good life, all things considered. And I'm happy about it. And I guess it did feel like I didn't need him to because I already felt pretty validated in it, but he just kind of reminded me that not many people can do that because they're so afraid of being alone. And it's really hard to find a community, especially in the modern era, probably even harder back in the day, but in general, it's so hard to find your own people. But once you estrange yourself from those who are bad for you, it is so refreshing because once you don't care about what people think, you can do what the fuck ever and be about what the fuck ever, and the best people, the strongest people, the most awesome people will be magnets to you. And that's lovely. So I am glad that I met him. I'm still sad about the ending, but one day he'll, hopefully, his name will be forgotten. And even then, I don't know, loneliness doesn't have to be bad all the time. I remember Mitchell told me about himself, because I guess, we confessed feelings for each other and stuff. And he told me, like, he was like, I don't know, like, I guess he felt insecure because he felt like he had nothing to really show off to me. He was like, I don't know how to break it to you, but I don't really live an exciting life like you do. Like, he thought I was some exciting, whimsical person. He was like, oh, well, I just kind of drink a lot of tea and listen to podcasts and read books. And then sometimes I go on hikes or like bike around the city, and I do that for like hours a day because I don't really have anything else I want to do. And then I go kickboxing or learn Muay Thai. And then I go to work, and then go home and sleep, and that's about it. I'm a very boring man. And I said, sweetheart, I appreciate that you think that is a boring man's life. But that's better than like most people I've met. Like, Jesus Christ, you're actually in the top 10% of people who actually are active and touch grass and have hobbies and read. I'm just saying, like, that's very good. He doesn't know how fine he is and attract. Like, Jesus, dude, you're 6 foot fucking 4. You read books, you take care of your health, you drink tea, you touch grass, embrace sunlight. It's like you don't have social media presence. You don't know anything about rap music or any big cultural events that have happened since fucking Seinfeld, and even then barely. Dude, you're kind of like the ultimate catch. Like, I'm just saying. Oh, and there's more. God, he's hot. Well, whatever. Plus, you saw those cheekbones, right? I'm just saying. Sorry. But even then, there's people who have much less who still are wonderful people. I remember when me and Liam first met, ever. I remember I was glad he shot his shot, because I guess, he didn't really hang out with anybody but his brothers, maybe once in a while his best friend, and he didn't really do much. He just went to work, came back, and kind of like played Elden Ring or every now and then watched a movie and just looked at memes on social media. But he was kind of dissatisfied with his life because, like I said, you can be comfortable being alone, but it's still different than being lonely. Lonely sucks. And then I was in a similar boat. I remember I literally was so close to going American Psycho on motherfuckers. I just thought to myself, I'm here working this nice luxury job, making all this money, and there's not a single thing I want to do because I'm afraid of everything and I'm nervous and I feel weird and strange and fucked up. And I did kind of like funny enough, I've prayed for men multiple times and got the perfect men. I prayed for Mitchell and I got him. Sure, I didn't keep him, but fuck Mitchell. But I did remember I kind of prayed. I was like, whatever higher power is out there, please send me a man, any man. He doesn't have to be the most intelligent. He doesn't have to be the most high earning. He doesn't have to be the most fit. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Just send me someone who is sweet and kind, who I can love and who loves me back. I don't care about anything else but that. Just give me that. And then lo and behold, that was around the time where I suddenly got like a random, like, I followed Liam. He liked what he saw on my page on my Instagram. He knew about my mental stuff. He posted a picture to a story, and then he DM'd me like, "Hey, how do we know each other?" And we got to talking for a few days, and it was great because we both had fucked up sleep schedules. Me from overnight shifts, him from his yeah, he just has a fucked up sleep schedule, and it was so nice. And then one night it was like a Friday, super like 8 p.m., 9 p.m., and we live so far away, but like simply put, I was like, oh, how about we meet for this? And we both talked about meeting, but we both weren't sure, but we both just had a gut feeling that we should. And then we met at this very cute diner that was open until like 2 a.m., and we stayed all the way until closing, just eating burgers and sharing milkshakes and shit. It was in talking for hours and ages. It was very cute. There's more to the story. I'll tell it some other time, but it's a fond memory. But I will say it like this. Something that I found especially nice was that at some point I asked him, he was nervous because it's like, you got a cute girl in front of you, you haven't been on a date in fucking ever, and like you've only had one date in your lifetime, haven't had a first kiss, haven't had sex, haven't had a lot of things, and you have me sitting in front of you, and I'm a cute girl who seems to be decently mentally stable and fun and social and super hot, and I had my hair done and my t-shirt was wet so he wasn't able to make proper eye contact. It was like a lot of things to already make him nervous as fuck to make a good impression. And I was like, so what do you do for fun? And he was like, oh, and he got really quiet and embarrassed, and he was like, I stay home and watch movies and play video games. I don't do a lot. And he just kind of was like, fuck. He just thought to himself, I totally fucked this up. I totally fucked this up. Because he just thought that he was going to be the most boring guy in the world. He was shocked when I went, thank fucking God. And he was like, what? And I said, I don't do shit either. And he laughed. And I was like, but I want to do shit. And he was like, I want to do shit too. And we just started listing out shit that we want to do but don't do because we're both two alone people who just struggle to find people to do the things with. And yeah, me and him are in touch to this day, positively. He's a sweetie pie. Oh, but that is a blessing. It's always a blessing when you get to meet someone and then you don't have to be alone. Or, like, how do I put this? Because humans are social creatures usually. Like, even when I was younger, I knew that the way that helped me when I was in a pit of despair was chat rooms. And then when it wasn't chat rooms, then it was, like, blogging. And when it wasn't blogging, then it was, like, simply put, there were a lot of factors that kind of stopped me from just going off the deep end. And even if it wasn't people in real life, it would still be like online sources for humor or comedy, or endless amounts of TV, like replicas for human social interaction, because at the end of the day, functioning healthy people need that. And that's what I've been kind of lacking recently, but I've been kind enough and blessed, or I've been blessed enough where I've had people be like, hey, Tam, we're going out to this comedy spot today. Hey, I can get you drinks and a ride. And then I'll have multiple people being down to just like invite me out to places for like a burger or to check out comedy or a movie. And they'll even offer to pay because they just want to see me that badly. And that's really sweet. Or people who like I don't know. Like, I just appreciate that there's still people out there that try to be like, hi, I like you and I welcome your energy and I want you to know that you're loved and appreciated and awesome on this planet. Even the most small, brief, fleeting interactions, like a kind interaction with a stranger on a bus, can make a world of difference in how my day goes for the rest of the day. Trust me, I have a lot of sweet memories of old men or random strangers or women in bathrooms who were just so awesome that things went well. And even with this stupid ass, ugly ass Mitchell guy, I'll say it, even though things didn't last long and things definitely went bad, a lot of good happened. Otherwise, I would have spent a Christmas totally the fuck alone, miserable, watching everyone else have the time of their life for the holiday season. Watching every other person have like big smiles and gift unwrappings, but no, I got to instead spend it with a sexy ass, tall ass, fit, smart, intelligent, funny ass motherfucker with a nice body who ate my pussy like, oh, like he was trying to lick the little bit of yogurt out of the fucking container. Oh, yeah. And I was so happy that I didn't even check Instagram during the holiday season. All I did was post just like how happy I was. And that was a blessing. Just being able to just be so happy that I didn't care about what others did or what others had. Because I had someone and I lost them and that sucked. But it's okay because I still met up with Liam. And then even at my worst, when I was having a breakdown over Mitchell and almost killed myself because of processing the sexual assault aspect, you know what happened? Liam reached out and he was like, "Hey, you can come over to see me tonight. I would have to ship you back home in the morning, but you can come over. We can play video games, get some food. We can talk about it if you want, and we can be happy." And I was happy. But before that, my buddy Seamus, before he stopped contact recently, he was sweet. And I was like, I'm going through it and I want a drink. Can I come to you? And I got a drink and talked to him a little bit about good and bad and had fun. Went to see Liam, and life got comfortable again. And I am really grateful for people in my life who make it a consistent to show me that I am admired and loved. And even if it couldn't last long, I appreciate those who at least could for a little while, because that's still a blessing. Some people don't have that. And at the end of the day, it's okay, because, like, I also still do the work to make sure that even if I didn't have anybody, do I still have, like, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs covered? Do I still have things that provide me comfort, like teddy bears, warm blankets, delicious food in my system, money in my bank account, cool things to look at and do, stimulus for myself? Like, I know that another factor to why loneliness sucked for me was because, like, simply put, I'll put it this way. It was either shit, like, even after I left my mom's place, sometimes this place could be terrible. I'm sure you could guess it was terrible. Like, I have several fucking cracks in this wall. God damn, this place is awful. And I know that if I could I know that I stayed with Liam a bit longer than I was supposed to back in the day, even when things did get bad, because I was afraid of being alone. But when I did, I was scared, and then I fell into the arms of Morgan, and he just so happened to be the right stimulus in the form of sex and charm, and I can fix him, and boy oh boy was that a mess, but eh. And then after him, I tried to have some space just to figure myself out. And that went well because I was like, you know what? Let me at least try. I went to more comedy open mics, even got on the stage myself. I did karaoke, even if there was no one there to root for me, just to try it out because I figured, hey, at the end of the day, I can laugh and cringe about it, and it still brings me stimulation and memories. And the good and the bad came with that, and it was a lot of fun. And you know what happened? I sadly had met the dude who would then be the next asshole I got with. What a terrible man. There were good and bad from that, but simply put, he started also showing he was evil specifically because he didn't want me to enjoy being alone. And that especially showed when I did separate from him and got comfortable being separate. Like, he could be like, "Hi, how are you doing today?" I could be like, "I'm good. I'm getting back into old hobbies I have long forgotten about." Like, I started propagating some succulents and looking at gemstones, and I couldn't even finish that sentence before he started yelling, "All right, we get it. You have hobbies. Stop talking about it," and being hella aggressive. Simply put, it's his own fault that he got left in the dust. And I guess now it's been like several months of me just figuring out, what do I want for myself? What could make me happy? What would bring me bliss? What is my most ideal life? And that's how I feel. And it's been very interesting going on for this ride and seeing what makes me happy. Lights on. Also, sorry, I low-key forgot what I was talking about, so give me a second. Oh, but I know that the common denominator with all of these things are I lost myself with these men. I used them as a form of escape for a lot of reasons, whether it was just an escape from home for a bit, because home wasn't always the best, for a lot of reasons. Like, hell, this is a shitty, mildewy, lame ass apartment. It's not the best spot, as we can see. And it's like, hey, men had money, men had food, men had provisions, men had things to make them extra likable to me. Mitchell's not even excluded from that, because, hey, with Mitchell, I know that a factor to me staying around past him trying to sexually assault me that day was, oh, I could stay with him and he could try to make this up to me and give me a good time. Or I could go home and then just be stuck in my shitty cold apartment where it's way too humid and I'm going to be ridiculously fucking cold and I'm going to suffer. And I made the choice because I figured, a time where a dude's paying for everything and I can have a nice night and go out to an Italian dinner and go ice skating and do God knows what else is still an escape that I need that sounds better than what's going on at home right now. So I see why it happened. But yeah, the common denominator is trying to keep my life together. There's also other factors like jobs that just got abusive bosses, so I couldn't be sane at them for long, or like too much time spent at jobs where I wasn't being treated right or earning enough money, or being unemployed. And then on top of that, then it'd be like, oh, I would try to start certain hobbies, but they couldn't. Like, I would try to do YouTube, but then suddenly videos wouldn't save, or videos wouldn't upload, or there would be random glitches, or a million things would be wrong. Like, it took ages and years. It's a documented process of how many times of trial and error it took for me to finally start my YouTube channel. Enough that even just remembering how long it took makes me want to shoot myself in the fucking skull, I'll be honest. And then on top of all of this, just bullshit from in all directions. If I could rewind time, I would have been like, let me leave this relationship, let me be non monogamous, let me just have a roster of men to take me out and do exciting things, and they're paying for it, so at least I don't have to deprive myself of a good experience. Like, I even was talking to a buddy a second ago, when the guy I was mentioning earlier, the older gentleman, and I was talking to him like, oh, a big factor to why I didn't go out so much before is because, like, why is a single drink at a restaurant, like, $16, and then they require a 2-drink minimum at a comedy club? And then, like, oh, why is it that I can go to one place for this? Like, I could go to the movies and it'll be like $16 for one single ticket. That's bullshit. And it's so fucking dumb, all of it. It's like everything is expensive, and then even times when I would go out, it would be niggas coughing on my neck, or someone harassing me like a crackhead in the street, or some staff member being rude to me, or an unsavory experience. And no wonder that I just kind of was like, never mind, I'm gonna stay in the fucking house. Unless I'm specifically out on a date, because I can't trust that it's gonna be good outside, because outside has nasty things like COVID and human shit on the ground and rude people and terrible interactions that I do not have the stamina for. But over the years, I have slowly gotten out of my shell in terms of like social interactions and built up a harder exterior so that more shit can roll off my back and bounce off of me, I guess. And I have more wisdom and stuff. I'm just saying, it's still disappointing to know that it's like, damn, the jump between like 21, like 22 to now, I don't know, kind of wish I did more. I still had fun though, don't get me wrong. Just like, hey, if I could rewind time, I would have not been at home crying and waiting for Morgan to text me back after he openly leaves me on red for like fucking 24 hours or longer. I would have been out on dates at Michelin star restaurants. I would have had a collection of nice jewelry and succulents, and I would have embraced my nice job with the easy hours and the good pay. And I would have used my money for like buying groceries and trying out new recipes and cooking, not like DoorDash orders for when I was too depressed and thought I needed to pay like $25 just for like one burrito bowl or something. And I can't change the past, but I can at least change the present and the future as much as I can while I can. And I know what to do now. I know which people aren't worth my time. I know which people are at least worth considering for my time, and who can bring value in what ways, who have been consistent, who have shown me that they are deserving of a chance, and who have shown me that it's safe to be in touch with them, and more. And I'm working on it. And one day I will be happy. And this is the goal. I want to be so happy that I'm alone, but not feeling lonely. Because I'll still have like people around me in my circles who can keep me happy and safe, but then, like let's say they got busy or had their own issues and couldn't talk to me for a bit, or I couldn't access them 24/7, I could still have a bunch of beautiful succulents flourishing and growing, a collection of teddy bears, a collection of jewelry. I would have like all the best movies and TV shows that I could love and watch for my own comfort. I could be always making art of like myself and others, and writing stories with the same passion I had as a teenage girl when I was just typing away as a form of healthy escape aside from men. And then I would always be cooking a new recipe and like making my own cookbooks to share with friends or just myself. And I would be happy and blissed out. And I want to be so happy and sure of myself and sure that my life is going to work out, that instead of me cowering inside unless I hope some big strong man with money is going to save me, I want it to be like I'm going to go out there and I'm going to have a blast. Regardless of what happens, it will be worth it, it will be good, and life is worth it. And yeah, I plan to have such an amazingly happy and abundant life. Amen. Peace out. Bye.